Hey, what's up, fam? Alright, what does this lead to? I don't know if you've read it yet. You're just kind of maybe opening up the chapter to read through the Black Clover, chapter 194, but this was a very mind opening and door opening chapter in so many ways. This was really ridiculous. So, I actually looked at the spoilers today, only to find out after reading this chapter that the spoilers I read were not true. And it's good, the thing that I didn't read the spoilers that turned out to be true, because this chapter was surprising in so many ways. So many ways. Now, obviously, where we left off, it was more towards the confrontation with, I think, Rila, it was the name of the elf that took over Ril's body, and Yuno showed up. They came in. Charmy went with Yuno, but separated, and Charmy ended up where Asta and Mimosa are. And it just kind of seemed pretty straight to where the fake spoilers I read were. Charmy shows up. She's trying to heal people up, or I guess regenerate people's stamina and magic with food. She actually goes over to Rila and like tries to talk to her and or talk to him, gives him food to try and be nice, and he hits her food away, and then Charmy gets pretty pissed off, as we've seen, gets that whole, her big sheep boss spell up and gets ready to go fight. I figured this was going to be maybe where we see all out Charmy, and then that was going to be more the turning point for Asta and Mimosa, because we know Charmy has a lot of hidden potential. Charmy is very powerful. She actually was, I'd say, number two in the within the Black Bulls right after Yami. And this chapter, I think, really cemented that, because shortly after their fight kind of began, it was already over. Like, he made very short work of Charmy, and then over while laying down, Charmy, seemingly the sheep started to break open, and that's where it kind of revealed that Charmy doesn't have just the magic and aura of a human, and that Charmy is actually a half breed. She is a hybrid of a dwarf and a human. And out from her sheep, comes a wolf, which instantly got the wolf in sheep's clothing, and so many things made sense. Like everything, like Charmy's height, Charmy's overwhelming power, the fact that Charmy is so short-tempered when it comes to pissing her off, and seemingly the one way to make her angry, and the fact that it's just 0 to 100. I actually like that her book is split down the middle, just from the fact that not only is she revealed to have two different magics, but the fact that she is a half-breed, and she didn't even know that she was a dwarf, which at first I kind of figured that maybe that was she's a specific dwarf, and she maybe knew some of the elves or something weird, but it looks like it's more towards that she isn't like some much older character, and that one of her parents, whenever that we find out who they are, is in fact going to be a dwarf. Now, what does that mean just in a short span of things? Really is okay. Yeah, now we have humans, elves, and dwarves. We know that Tabata wants to open up a lot of different areas in Black Clover. He said that as long as Shonen Jump lets him, like, he's perfectly fine going as far as stuff like Naruto and One Piece. So I imagine he has the layout of what he wants to do all kind of stretched and ready, if he is able to get to that point. But the long term is that it opens up a whole new faction, opens up a potential for Asta also, like, because if you recall, the creature within the grimoire referred to him as a dwarf, and it would make a lot of sense towards the fact that Asta is very short, he's very physically strong, his body is just durable as all hell, and might actually relate somehow to the fact he has no magic. Now, this is such an interesting turn, and I figured elves and since we got elves, we got humans, we know Tabata's making it very fantasy based, that we'd probably get dwarves at some point. It just seems to be very hand in hand when you have elves to have dwarves. I was like, okay, maybe eventually we get dwarves, maybe whenever we get finished with the elves. I didn't think we'd start seeing one so early uh, compared to this, but the fact that it was, this dwarf was right under our nose, and the fact that so much makes sense now because it is absolutely crazy, absolutely wild, and it's just mind blowing. It's like when I talked about Seven Deadly Sins, how much the reveal originally of Mel Starosa was, because while reading it, that kind of line where it talks about him like not being born with darkness, and the fact that he would never hurt a fly, and the fact that everyone said it the exact same way every time. I thought it was annoying, and then it turns out that was the point, because it was kind of like that phrase specifically, the whole thing they would say out was lasered into their brain. So like there were all these things that then connected when you saw the reveal, and you look back and you're like, wow, that this all does tie together. This was set up really well. This is crazy with Charmy too, and it's just so weird to think about when it's revealed that all those different points of just like I said, the fact that she's very small, her temper, her large scaling magic. There's so many things that it just is so interesting within the series. And not only that, just the fact that she has a second magic, but her second magic still fits in with her normal one. So she actually seemingly has her normal, like, smaller form, where it's more around being a support type character. Most of her ability center around that fact that her food can regenerate people's magic and stamina, but also the fact that, because she's got the cotton magic, that it can provide shields, aid for defense, but also she has her melee range giant ram. But it's like, well, other than the ram, what else is she going to do for attack? Well, this is kind of revealed here. Is we have the wolf, who seems much more offensive, much more of a battle style setup of abilities, to where once really used some more of his paintings. We have Charmy, who used instead of cotton magic, it's meal magic, and in the Glutton's Banquet, where the wolf eats up all of the magic paintings and attacks, and like pretty much converts it into a physical buff. Now that also just opens up a lot of questions. Like, is maybe physical buffs are very normal for elves, or for dwarves, like something having to be towards making them physically stronger, making them much more of a melee style fighter, which could lead into an explanation for Asta, which would just be, oh my god, it would tie so many things together, but it would also open up the idea of what significance Charmy would have towards Asta if Asta turned out to be an elf, or I keep messing up with that, with a dwarf. Now it's just, like I said, it's a really good reveal, but the fact of what it means for the future is just such an interesting twist, and that's what I'm really liking right now. Like, you don't know what's coming a lot of the time with this arc. Like, this is such a good arc, and so far the twists and the turns and the reveals and how things are kind of working together is just, you can tell Tabata planned this out. And there's a level that obviously manga writers, that they have an idea in their head. There's going to be stuff long term that they plan, and they lay clues out. And then there are obviously going to be stuff that maybe they decide last second, and that maybe fits conveniently or kind of feels out of place. But this just, Tabata's been on fire with a lot of this, and I think this chapter and just the reveal, but also at the same time the setup, just it really cements the fact. I think he's probably the best out of all the new generation of mangaka, where it's like their first manga. Like, out of all these rookies, I think he's just doing excellent. And though obviously it's not the biggest out of all the rookies, obviously My Hero Academia being a much more successful franchise at the moment, but oh my god, it's just Tabata. I think he's so much better planned, and he's got this idea just laid out in such a better way, and such a such a well grafted manner that it really just feels every week like you're going to get something impressive and new, but at the same time, it's been there, and you might just not have noticed, like everything, the reveal of what the name of the Golden Dawn meant. Like, are we gonna find that now out too? Like, Asta being a dwarf, or maybe he's a half dwarf, maybe he's of dwarf descendant, maybe he's a whole different race. Like, what are we gonna find out? Maybe he's a gnome. I don't know, but we will find out in the future. This just opens so many doors. Like, what other characters might be some other kind of like half breed. Maybe some are a full version of a species and just they're in a hiding and they don't want to be caught out or who knows what are we gonna find out? Maybe we'll find out something about Henry, like why his ability to kind of drain magic around it. Maybe some form of creature as well. I don't know, but like I said, intense chapter. Like it was just such an interesting plot twist, and I just can't wait to figure out what happens next. And I'm so much more excited over the large plan of what this could mean than what's happening in the moment, regardless of it being a very cool chapter. But other than that, drop a comment below and what you think about what's going on right now. Like I don't know. I don't know how to really process some of it on a short scale term because I'm just so wrapped up in what it could mean, so much further down the line and what other things have been laid out throughout the story that we might just not have paid enough attention to that might get revealed. And when it happens, we're going to smack our foreheads and be like, oh my God, this makes so much more sense now. But like I said, other than that, please leave a comment below on what you thought about this chapter. And thumbs up the video if you enjoyed this. Befriend the like button and subscribe for more. I try and put out a video every day, and I really appreciate everyone for everyone for listening and those already subscribed.